Hello everybody, it's Sabre and I'm back again with this new series that I'm calling D&D Breakdown. What that means is I'm breaking down all of these subclasses, major classes, maybe some races, to break it down to better understand what each of them means, so maybe if you want to try D&D, it's not so difficult to get into, and you might actually like it. My kids are actually interested in playing it, so we might be starting something in the summer. No, I will not be streaming that for you all, but that's cool that they want to get into probably one of the deepest and most rule-driven, actually, board games that's out there, so that's cool. So today I am going back into the Tal'Dorei Reborn. Again, this is the latest book that was released by the Critical Role group, Matt Mercer specifically. And this is a full campaign book. It has 9 subclasses and some other races and like that. They're in the book, so it's very deep. So if you want to get out of the Sword Coast, want to try a new complete area that's completely been described and built for you, check out this book. It's only $50. I recommend getting it from their site. Do not get it from some of the Amazon site, because some of the Amazon sites has it for $85. They're up costing it for you. So get it directly from them. Go to the Quick Roll shop, and you can get it from them. But without further ado, today we're going over the College of Tragedy. Now, this is the Bard class that's got everybody talking on the internet. They've said this has been ranked #1 on some people's lists on what is the most interesting or the craziest build that's out there for you, everybody. So this is not all grand stories conclude in triumphant victory. Many tales end with death and despair, and the bard of the College of Tragedy know that sorrow and pathos are emotions just as potent as joy and delight. These bards specialize in the power of tragic storytelling, weaving words and spells together to dramatic and devastating effect. What does that all mean? Basically, what that means is that this class specifically, basically, I'll give you some good things if bad things happen. I'll give you good things, but you also have to take some bad things with it. So it turns into bad things happening on the battlefield, and it makes it into good things. But the capstone skill at level 14, well, that actually gives you good and bad things, and the skill is ridiculous. But we're going to go through it. I took out some of the fluff text. I'm going with just this space text. And I'm also going to use Roll20 to help understand what this all means for you all. Okay? So, first level 3 skill is Poetry in Misery. Whenever you or an ally within 30 feet of you rolls a nat 1 on a d20 for an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, you can use your reaction to soliloquize and regain 1 expended use of your Bardic Inspiration feature. This is the skill that my crew immediately pulled out of that book and said, whoa, this is crazy. Well, it is for us, because if you ever follow us on Friday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, live on my Twitch channel, which is Sabre Gaming, 2 M's, you know that Paul ridiculously rolls on all ones. The last 2 sessions, he's rolled 8 natural ones. So what does this mean exactly? Well, if we go over to the Roll20 map right here, we will show that basically if Kirill is the center, this is actually the 30 feet radius around them. And if any of these guys rolled a natural 1, which this is Paul's character right there, for instance, and Kirill used some of his Bardic Inspiration to help them with rolls and such, that he would actually be able to use his reaction, if it's available, to regain one of those inspiration dice back. They only get, bards only get a number of die equal to, I believe, their charisma. So, so he only would have 4, maybe 5 dice available the entire day. And it kind of passed out much like guidances from the cleric cantrip spell list. So they're used a lot, and having an ability to regain them back, a tool pack, makes this actually pretty darn impactful, if you ask me. So, yeah. So I think, yeah, I like that. It's pretty crazy. It's not crazy good, like some of the later ones is. But yeah, not too bad. Also, if you check out below me right there, that is a sample picture that they have from the textbook. That is Balthazar Bleakskull. Again, some of this artwork is actually from the book. I do not take credit for it. These are the examples they give you from the book. Now, there's a second level 3, and I know there's a lot of text here, so we'll try to break it down for you as best as I can. But basically what we have is Sorrowful Fate. When you or an ally you can see forces a creature to make a saving throw, you can spend 1 use of your Bardic Inspiration to change that type of saving throw to a Charisma save instead. In the example, I'm going to jump down here. The example I had down here is that you yourself can cast Vicious Mockery, which is a Wisdom save, and you can change that save from a Wisdom save to a Charisma save. And if the target fails this save, roll the Bardic Inspiration die that was used. The target also suffers psychic damage equal to the result and is plagued with regret for 1 minute. So again, you can now roll the Bardic Inspiration. So basically at this level 3, Vicious Mockery does 1d4, and you can add 1d6, which is your Bardic Inspiration die. So turning that 1d4 into basically better than a 2d4, 1d4 plus 1d6. So you can do 10 damage of the Vicious Mockery cantrip and make it into Charisma, which a lot of creatures out there are not good at Charisma saving throws. Very few are good at it. So makes a spell like, say, even Fireball. You could turn Fireball from a Dexterity saving throw into a Charisma saving throw spell. Now that would be interesting. If the target is reduced to 0 hit points while under the regret condition, they are magically compelled to utter darkly poetic final words before dying. Okay. This is coming from the Critical Role group, who does a lot of roleplay. If your group, on this particular note, does a lot of roleplay, cool for you. Some of my guys in my group, not so much into roleplay. So if your group's not too much roleplay, you could probably skip this one and don't have to worry about this one in particular. It's cool, forces the DM to do things, or you to do things, if it's used against you. But it is very just RP. That is just straight up just RP related. It has nothing to do with combat, all right? And again, also once you use this feature, you cannot use it again until you finish a short or long rest. And I want to note that this is done on a free action anytime. No reaction needed. So again, you can do this anytime you want. You don't even need a reaction to use it. You can only use it once per a short rest, though. But when your ally wants to cast Fireball, you can just use this. And if I remember correctly, I'm looking back here, there's no distance listed here. So you just have to see your ally to use it, for them to actually get this changed to Charisma. That's ridiculous. So you could be 100 feet away from an ally that you can see, cast Fireball, and you can change that Fireball from Dexterity to Charisma. Okay. Yeah, this is why this subclass is pretty ridiculous, pretty silly and ridiculous. Now, level 6, you get Tale of Hubris. It's the first of 2 level 6s, actually. When a creature scores a critical hit against you or an ally within 60 feet of you that you can see, you can use your reaction and expend 1 use of your Bardic Inspiration to target the attacking creature and evoke the story of their downfall. So how far away is 60 feet? Well, let's go back to our handy-dandy Roll20 map, shall we? So 60 feet away. All right, well, let's zoom in a little bit. So let's change his radius from 30 feet. Let's change this to 60 feet away. Save that. We'll put, say, put this character against him. So if Orchrus, Deathbait Orchrus gets critical hit by this guy right here, this is 60 feet away from any of these locations right here. That is pretty. The range of this, some of the abilities for Bardic Inspiration regain or use is incredible. And actually, you can even use from like this far away. Actually, so you could use it from this far away if you wanted to. That's pretty darn good, guys. All right. So that's 60 feet. So what does that mean by evoke the story of their downfall? Well, what that means is for 1 minute, or until the target creature suffers a critical hit themselves, any weapon attack against that target creature scores a critical hit on a roll of an 18 to 20. At level 14, this increases the critical hit range from 17 to 20. That's better than your champion fighter. Champion fighter, or I think there's a barbarian too, that brings it down to 19 to 20. This brings it down to 18 to 20. Or at level 14, it lowers it from 17 to 20. That means you have a 1 in 5 chance because of 17, 18, 19, 24. So 4 chances on a d20, which means that's a 1 in 5 chance of scoring a critical hit against that creature. And if you have your barbarian or your paladin and they have a smite available there, you can almost automatically, and so even with the barbarian, if they have like brutal critical and they're using, say, if they're using reckless attack to have advantage, they have a 1 in 5 chance at advantage for 2 rolls to try to get a critical hit. That's pretty darn good. Okay, this class is ridiculous, guys. It really is. It's pretty cool. Oh wait, there's more. Also, level 6, you get impeding misfortune. This is where the good and the bad happens. When you make an attack roll or a saving throw, you can gain plus 10 on the bonus to roll. That's like doing the, I think it's like Weapon Master or something like that, where you get a plus 10 on your attack roll, but you roll plus 10 damage, but minus 5 on your attack roll. This is kind of similar to that. Now, the negative part of this is, however, the next attack roll saving throw you make is a negative 10 penalty. So if I want to save this right now, if I have a fireball that's going to deal 10d6 to my face, and it's going to deal like 60 damage to me, and I only have 40 health, and I need to make this save right now, you can use this, get a plus 10 to your roll. So with a saving throw, you might have a plus, say, 2 to dex. So that's a base of 12 before you roll the 1d20. So you're almost guaranteed to save against that attack. Now, however, the next time you have to make an attack roll saving throw after that, you're going to get a negative 10 to that roll. So basically, you're automatically going to miss. The good news is, if that's the last thing you did, if this is the last thing you did that day, the penalty goes away on a short or long rest, and you cannot use this feature again until you finish a short or long rest, or you're reduced to 0 hit points, which is interesting that it added that other part where it's like you're reduced to 0 hit points. So if your character goes down in combat and you use this ability, and you get brought back up again by a cleric, back to, say, 1 HP or whatever, you can use this ability again during that same combat. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I was like, oh, so you can only use this one time a day. No, you can actually use this multiple times in the same combat if you died. I mean, that's a real risk. I mean, but yeah. So if your cleric comes over and brings you back up again, okay, I'm going to use plus 10 to my next attack and hit him again. So yeah, that's crazy. Now again, for bards, there is no level 10 ability like it was the barbarian the other day. But this last ability, feature ability is ridiculous. Nimbus of Pathos. Now I didn't include the fluff text on this one of you can touch a willing creature as an action and empower it with tragic heroism. For 1 minute, which in combat means for because usually 1 round of combat equals to about 6 seconds. So 6 seconds in a minute, so you're talking about 10 turns. So for 1 minute or 10 turns, the creature is surrounded by mournful music, ghostly singing, and granting it the following benefits and drawbacks. Benefits and drawbacks. Okay. The creature has plus 10 bonus AC. Okay, not bad. It has advantage on attack rolls and saving throws. Woo, that's pretty darn awesome. Advantage on all attacks and saving throws for 10 minutes. When the creature hits the target with a weapon attack or spell attack, so you could even use this with Eldritch Blast if you wanted to, this target takes an extra 1d10 radiant damage. So if you go back to Eldritch Blast, you can do a 1d10 force, 1d10 radiant damage, and if you're a warlock, you can add your modifier of charisma. And now I don't know if you could touch willing creature yourself. I don't know if that works or not. But imagine if you could double up. So you could be a bard warlock because both of them have very high charisma. You can put this on yourself and just start blasting from range, and all your spell attacks. It doesn't say once. It says whenever you hit with a spell attack, it takes an extra 1d10, so you can do Eldritch Blast for like 2d10 basically every single bolt. Later on, you can do 3 or 4 bolt shots. That's 6d10 on a cantrip. Plus your charisma modifier of plus 5 each. So 6d10 plus, what is that, 15. Whew. Now here's the drawbacks. If you haven't read it already. Any weapon attack against the creature who is empowered scores a critical hit on a roll of 18 to 20. Eek. So if you have an attack against you, you are going to be increased chance to being critted yourself. But if you can put this on yourself and you do Eldritch Blast from long range, you don't have to worry about that. So, okay, cool. When the effect ends, the creature immediately drops to 0 hit points and is considered dying. What? You drop to 0 HP and are dying. So similarly to the haste spell, where the person who is affected by it is now slowed for a turn or two, you just straight up die after 10 turns of this. Most combat in D&D usually does not last 10 turns. So that's cool. So if this happens, so if the effect doesn't last to 10 turns. So the part of this that you would still be in combat when this occurred would not happen during combat, likely. However, it is still going to happen at the end of combat, so you are going to have your cleric expend a cure wound spell, or your paladin put on a lay hand spell for 1 HP to get you back up again, or that person back up again. But once you use this feature, you cannot use it again in the long rest. Heck yeah, because this would be overpowered as heck. You basically turn your, say, your barbarian up to 11, giving him tons of AC, advantage on attack rolls without having to go reckless, and do 1d10 radiant damage to their attacks and everything. But they get critical hit, but since they're raging, they would still take half damage, so it cancels out the bonus double up on the critical hit. So it cancels out on the barbarian. But when the effect ends, they would be done by the raging and everything. They would collapse on the ground. So it's an interesting. It is an interesting ability. Does make you think on using it. Again, I don't know if you can use it on yourself. It says touch a willing creature. Technically, yourself would be a willing creature. It does not say willing other creature. Did not say that in the text. So we'd have to probably look out for a ruling on that. But that's it for this College of Tragedy Bard. Like I said, it is pretty crazy. Some of the abilities you get from this. Yeah, you understand why this is ranked #1 on some other people's charts when they rank all these subclasses I saw online. I hope that these breakdown videos help you guys out a lot. And again, go check out this book over here. Again, it's Tadella Reborn. I'll be doing more videos breaking down all the subclasses for these in the future. Once again, I am Sabre Wolf. Thank you and have a good day.